My wife texted, "I want a divorce. All communication through my lawyer." I replied, "Understood." Then I canceled her credit cards and cut all financial support. I, 38M, have been married to my wife, 36F, for 12 years. We have 2 kids, 10M, 8F, who are currently staying with my parents while we sort out this mess. I'm still trying to process everything that's happened in the last 2 weeks, but I need to get this off my chest and maybe get some outside perspective. For background, I've always been the primary earner in our household. I work in software development and make a comfortable 6-figure salary. My wife worked part-time as a teacher but stopped when our second child was born. She's been a stay-at-home mom for the past 8 years. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but I thought we were generally happy. Last month, I noticed my wife becoming increasingly distant. She was spending more time on her phone, going out with friends I'd never heard of before, and generally acting secretive. I tried talking to her about it several times, but she brushed me off, saying she was just reconnecting with old college friends and needed some me time. 2 weeks ago, I came home from work to find the kids already dropped off at my parents' house, without any heads up to me, and my wife's closet half empty. No note, no explanation. I called and texted her multiple times with no response until finally, around midnight, I received this text. "I want a divorce. All communication through my lawyer from now on. I'll be in touch about arrangements for the kids." That's it. 12 years of marriage, 2 children, and countless memories reduced to a cold, impersonal text message. No explanation, no discussion, nothing. I was in shock. I couldn't believe this was happening. After a sleepless night trying to make sense of everything, I replied with a single word, "Understood." Then I went into self-preservation mode. I called my bank and removed her as an authorized user on my credit cards. I transferred half of our joint savings into a new account under only my name, leaving the other half in our joint account. I contacted HR at work to remove her from my health insurance, effective at the end of the month. I called my attorney and scheduled an emergency meeting for the next day. Here's where I might be the asshole. My wife has never had financial independence. She's been a stay-at-home mom for 8 years, with no income of her own. All our bills, credit cards, car payments, everything was under my name and paid from my income. By cutting her off financially without warning, I essentially left her with no access to funds aside from whatever cash she had on hand and the half of our savings I left in the joint account. 3 days later, I received a barrage of angry texts from her accusing me of being vindictive and cruel, saying she can't even buy groceries or gas. I reminded her that she explicitly said all communication should go through her lawyer and asked for her attorney's contact information. She exploded, calling me every name in the book. Yesterday, I was served with divorce papers. She's seeking full custody, spousal support, child support, our house, and half of my retirement accounts. The papers also included allegations that I was financially abusive throughout our marriage, completely untrue, and that my recent actions prove it. Here's where things get even more complicated. Through mutual friends, I learned that my wife has apparently been having an affair with her personal trainer for the past 6 months. According to these friends, she had been planning to leave me for a while but wanted to secure her financial position before doing so. Allegedly, she was angry that I forced her hand by becoming suspicious. My parents and siblings think I did the right thing by protecting myself financially, especially given the circumstances. My wife's family is calling me a monster for cutting her off without warning. Some of our mutual friends are divided. I've made sure the kids have everything they need, and I'm actively involved in their daily lives. They're confused and upset, but I'm doing my best to provide stability and reassurance without bad-mouthing their mother. Update, 3 days later. First, thank you all for the overwhelming support and advice. I've read every comment, even though I couldn't respond to them all, and I genuinely appreciate the perspective shared. A lot has happened in the last few days, so here's where things stand. 1. Legal front, my lawyer is fantastic. After reviewing the texts, financial records, and gathering statements from friends who knew about the affair, he feels confident we can push back against the allegations of financial abuse. We've filed a counterpetition seeking joint custody of the kids. He's also advised me to document everything, which I've been doing obsessively. 2. Financial situation. Based on legal advice and many of your comments, I've set up a separate account specifically for reasonable child and household expenses. My lawyer helped establish a temporary arrangement where I deposit a fair monthly amount for necessary expenses related to the children and basic household needs. This way, I'm not being financially vindictive while still protecting myself from unlimited spending. 3. The affair. Several people suggested I was jumping to conclusions about the affair based on hearsay. Well, I now have definitive proof. My wife's personal trainer actually reached out to me. Apparently they had a falling out when he realized she was expecting him to financially support her now. He sent me text exchanges and photos that confirm the 6-month relationship. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. 4. Kids, they're still with my parents, but I see them daily. Yesterday, my wife finally reached out wanting to see them. We arranged a supervised visit at my parents' house. It was tense but civil, and the kids were happy to see their mom. We're working on establishing a temporary visitation schedule until the court decides on custody arrangements. 5. The house, I've moved back into our house, with my lawyer's blessing, since she left it vacant. Interestingly, when she found out I was back in the house, she demanded to return as well. My lawyer advised that I shouldn't prevent her from coming back, but I've established clear boundaries about personal space within the home. 6. Emotional state, I'm still processing everything, but therapy is helping tremendously. The therapist is focusing on helping me navigate co-parenting during this hostile period and processing the betrayal without letting anger drive my decisions. 7. The text messages. Many of you asked for more details about our communication before the text. Looking back at our messages from the weeks prior, I can see now that she was deliberately creating a paper trail that made me look uninterested and distant, sending texts like I wish we could talk more when we were literally in the same house. My lawyer says this was likely planned groundwork for her case. The road ahead is still long and undoubtedly difficult, but I'm focusing on what matters most, my children's well-being and my own mental health. I'm trying to take the high road while still protecting myself and my kids. I'm not going to lie, there are moments I want to be petty and vindictive after discovering the extent of her deception. But the overwhelming advice from both my lawyer and you all has been to stay calm, document everything, and let the legal process work. One last thing, to those who shared similar stories in the comments, thank you. Knowing I'm not alone in experiencing something like this has been incredibly comforting during this nightmare. I'll update again when there are significant developments. Update 2, 2 weeks later. The situation has evolved significantly, so I wanted to provide another update for those following along. 1. Living arrangements. After consulting with my lawyer, I've moved into the guest bedroom while my wife has returned to our master bedroom. It's incredibly awkward and tense, but we're basically living as roommates with minimal interaction. The kids have returned home as well, which has been good for their stability, though they definitely sense the tension. 2. Financial developments. The temporary financial arrangement established through our lawyers is working as intended. I'm providing reasonable support for household and child-related expenses while maintaining separate finances otherwise. My wife has suddenly become very interested in finding employment and has interviews lined up next week. 3. The affair partner. The personal trainer has become an unexpected ally. After my wife apparently tried to extract financial promises from him, and suggested he had made such promises, he's provided additional evidence of their relationship and her explicit plans regarding the divorce. He even signed an affidavit confirming that she discussed strategies to maximize financial gain from the divorce. My lawyer says this is extremely helpful. 4. Her lawyer's situation. In an interesting turn of events, my wife's original lawyer has withdrawn from the case. According to my attorney, this sometimes happens when a client hasn't been fully truthful with their counsel or when the lawyer realizes the case isn't as straightforward as initially presented. She's now on her second attorney. 5. Custody. We've established a temporary 50-50 custody arrangement while the case proceeds. The kids seem to be adapting as well as can be expected. They're in therapy, which is helping them process everything. I'm making every effort to maintain their routine and stability. 6. The financial abuse claims. These allegations have largely fallen apart after my lawyer presented evidence of our financial history, including documentation of her substantial discretionary spending over the years. Additionally, several friends provided statements confirming that she frequently boasted about not having to work and having unlimited access to funds. 7. My mental health. I've continued with therapy and it's been tremendously helpful. The initial shock and betrayal have given way to a strange sense of clarity. I realize now that there were warning signs I ignored for years, prioritizing family stability over addressing issues directly. 8. Unexpected support. One surprising development has been the shift in support from her family. After initially condemning my actions, her sister reached out privately last week. Apparently, my wife had told her family an entirely different story about our marriage and the reasons for the divorce. When they learned about the affair and the calculated nature of her exit strategy, several of them have reached out to apologize and offer support. 9. Co-parenting. This remains challenging, but we're both making an effort to shield the children from our conflict. We've established a communication system specifically for child-related matters, which helps keep emotions out of necessary parenting discussions. 10. Moving forward, my lawyer believes we're in a strong position for mediation, which is scheduled for next month. The goal is to reach a fair settlement without a protracted court battle, which would only deplete resources that could otherwise benefit our children. The road ahead still looks difficult, but I'm starting to see glimpses of what life might look like on the other side of this chaos. There are moments when the weight of everything feels crushing, but there are also moments of unexpected peace and even occasional optimism. Update 3, 1 month later. It's been about a month since my last update, and we've reached some major milestones in this process. Here's where things stand. 1. Separation complete. I've moved out of our family home and into a nice 3-bedroom apartment about 10 minutes away. The kids have their own rooms at both homes now, which has helped them adjust to the new normal of splitting time between 2 households. 2. Mediation success. After 2 intense days of mediation, we've reached a settlement agreement that both sides can live with. The key points: 50-50 legal and physical custody. Child support calculated according to state guidelines. The family home will be sold, with proceeds split 60-40 in my favor to account for the larger down payment I made from premarital funds. Retirement accounts will be divided based on the duration of the marriage. Reasonable spousal support for 3 years, decreasing each year to give her time to re-establish her career. 3. Her employment. My wife has secured a full-time teaching position starting next month. I'm genuinely happy about this, as it's good for her self-sufficiency and sets a positive example for our children. 4. The personal trainer. That relationship imploded spectacularly once he realized she had significant financial expectations of him. He's no longer in the picture, from what I understand. 5. Co-parenting progress. We've established a relatively functional co-parenting relationship. It's still strained and formal, but we're able to communicate effectively about the kids' needs without devolving into arguments. We're using a co-parenting app that logs all communications and helps coordinate schedules. 6. The kids, they're adjusting better than I expected. Their therapist says they're processing everything in age-appropriate ways and seem resilient. They've settled into the routine of moving between households and actually enjoy having 2 special places. That said, there have been difficult moments, particularly when they ask why we can't just be a family again. 7. Personal growth. The initial shock and anger have largely subsided. Therapy has helped me recognize that while the way this ended was terrible, there were problems in our marriage that I had been ignoring. I'm working on myself, addressing patterns that made me miss red flags and developing healthier relationship skills for the future. 8. Mutual friends. The friend group has naturally divided somewhat, though a few close couples have made efforts to maintain relationships with both of us separately. I'm grateful for those who have stood by me through this process. 9. Unexpected silver linings. As painful as this experience has been, there have been unexpected positives. My relationship with my parents and siblings has deepened significantly. I've reconnected with old friends who reached out after hearing about the divorce. Most importantly, the focused one-on-one time I now have with my kids during my parenting days has created a different, and in some ways stronger, bond between us. 10. Looking forward, the divorce will be finalized in about 2 months. I'm starting to think about what I want my life to look like post-divorce. I've joined a hiking group and signed up for cooking classes, realizing how much I relied on my wife for meal planning. I'm not ready to date yet, but I can at least envision a time when I might be. The experience has been humbling in many ways. If you had told me 6 months ago that my marriage would end like this, I wouldn't have believed it. But humans are remarkably adaptable, and what once seemed unsurvivable has become the new normal. To anyone going through something similar, the best advice I can offer from the other side of the initial crisis is, focus relentlessly on what you can control, be the stable parent your kids need, don't make decisions from a place of anger, and remember that nothing lasts forever, not even the pain of betrayal. Final update, 6 months later. It's been 6 months since my initial post, and I wanted to provide one final update to close this chapter. 1. Legal status. The divorce is officially finalized. All paperwork is signed, assets have been divided according to our agreement, and we've established a legally binding parenting plan. There's a sense of relief in having the legal process completed. 2. Co-parenting. We've settled into a fairly smooth co-parenting routine. The initial tension has faded into a business-like relationship focused solely on the children. We use our co-parenting app for all communications and schedule exchanges, which has minimized conflicts. We recently managed to attend our son's soccer championship game and sit near each other without any drama, a small victory. 3. The kids continue to adjust well. Their initial anxiety has largely subsided as they've grown comfortable with the consistency of our new arrangement. My daughter still occasionally expresses sadness about the divorce, but these moments are becoming less frequent. My son has become quite protective of his sister, which is both heartwarming and occasionally concerning. Their therapist assures me they're processing everything in healthy ways. 4. Financial recovery. I've rebuilt my savings and established a solid financial plan moving forward. The temporary hit from the divorce settlement was significant but not catastrophic. I'm back on track with retirement planning and have established college funds for both children. 5. My ex-wife, she's settled into her teaching career and seems to be thriving professionally. We don't discuss personal matters, but the kids mention she seems happy. She's dating someone new, not the personal trainer, which initially stirred some unexpected feelings in me, but I've processed those and am genuinely okay with it now. 6. Personal life. After focusing exclusively on healing and establishing stability for the kids, I've recently started dating again, very casually and without introducing anyone to my children yet. It's been an interesting experience rediscovering that part of myself. I've also maintained the new hobbies I picked up and have expanded my social circle considerably. 7. Unexpected lessons. This experience has taught me more about myself than I ever expected. I've learned about my own resilience, my blind spots in relationships, and my capacity to prioritize peace over being right. The man I am today is markedly different from who I was when I wrote that first desperate post. 8. Moving forward, I no longer see myself as going through a divorce. That chapter has closed. I'm a co-parent and a single father building a new life. There are still difficult days, particularly during holidays or family events where the absence of our complete family is felt most acutely. But these moments no longer derail me. To those who followed my story and offered support and advice along the way, thank you.